Where did I go? So last week we discussed the 17th. We were discussing the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as the divisions of faith. So I think we completed till we read till 22, but we discussed till the sacrifices part, the austerity of body, speech, and mind. We will cover that today. So anyone remembers what we discussed in the previous class? Very quick recap.
The connection from chapter 16 to 17 and why the divisions of people, where will they land and what will happen to them is what Arjuna is asking. And two different types of people, whether they don't follow the scriptures, they know scriptures and whimsically follow them, or they neglect it. So those two people, and basics of Krishna Consciousness and all those aspects. And faith is developed from Shuddha Sattva platform, and Krishna Consciousness is the platform where we can develop reach to the Shuddha Sattva.
Focus on how one develop different kinds of faith based on their activities. Based on their activities, or modes of nature and their activities.
So 2 points we discussed. Arjuna is asking what of those people who have, out of laziness, they have found following the principles which are enjoined in the Vedas to be very difficult, and therefore they have given it up whimsically. And what about those who are genuinely against Vedic practices, who invent their own principles and practices? So, people who obviously invent their own practices and follow it are condemned. That's what the Lord is saying. And they will, and the Lord says that in this context, He says that faith is manifested in somebody based on how much or what permutation and combination of modes of material nature he or she is. That way one develops faith. So there are so many permutations and combinations of the 3 modes of material nature in varying degrees that lead to different types of faith in human beings. So we saw that those neglectful of Vedic authorities can never be delivered from their bad faith. So Lord says that they are led by sense gratification, they concoct their own methods, and they abuse their bodies. They invent different ways of austerities. Whereas someone who comes in contact with saintly association, however fallen he may be, whatever his background may be, still has a chance. But those who are stubborn and not following Vedic injunctions, for them there is no hope. Now in that context, in the context of faith, so the Lord says you can usually observe the quality of a person's faith by observing who he worships and his preference in eating. And that is how this context, whole flow starts. You can see some externals of that person, and then you can see what kind of faith he or she has, or which mode of material nature is prevalent on that person. Because the modes of material nature give the faith. So in that context, it was mentioned that people in the mode of goodness, the first parameter was worship. People in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. So in one sense they are going through the right channel. Of course the best channel is Lord Krishna. But going through demigod is not incorrect. It's not against Vedic intentions. But it is, so it's in one sense it's not a wrong channel. So people who are in mode of goodness worship the demigods. People in the mode of passion worship demonic personalities. Like Hitler. Powerful persons. Powerful persons. Personalities. Yesterday I was watching this movie, Aditya, in the evening. It's an old movie. So it is, and Gaura Hari Prabhu has been sending something. It was I think probably nominated for so many awards. 1970s, 80s movies. No, 1983. Schindler's List. Anyone has seen it? Yeah. So we saw Schindler's List yesterday. So where it was seen how the Nazis, they were persecuting the Jews, the Polish Jews, in various camps. So, and we can clearly see how demonic personalities are. It's projected it's a true life story. So the director has projected real life almost situation. How it happened, how people actually start accepting some philosophy which is demonic, and the whole life then they become very ruthless in their admiration for this person, Hitler. They become very ruthless with people. So how much mode of passion can affect? Very, very evident.
Ignorance or passion?
Pardon?
The activities that they are carrying out is in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah, but it's first it is passion, then it is ignorance.
Degrading.
Passion will lead to ignorance. Philosophy is in mode of passion. It is about skills. People who are not skillful do not deserve to exist. People who cannot be involved in productive activity don't deserve to live. Activity is in the mode of passion. And then the thinking that they should kill them is in the mode of ignorance. Passion will lead into it. You can see that very clearly. But people who are in mode of passion, they glorify such people. And people in mode of ignorance, they worship ghosts and spirits. We saw that. People in mode of passion always have an ulterior purpose. They want some political end. So what happens? Because they have an ulterior purpose, they cannot remain with one single ideology. So even in this Schindler's List, it was shown how this person who was in charge of that particular concentration camp, he will just ruthlessly shoot anybody who is walking. If you are just walking, he will shoot you. He's that kind of person.
Why?
He's just that kind of person he is. You can't do it. There's no why. He's asked why, but there's no answer. He just shoots. He wants to shoot. He likes it. He just feels like it. In one shot, they are showing that a lady is sitting, cooking something, and he comes out, he just feels like using his rifle for target practice. So he shoots her for target practice. That is how the persecution of the Jews were during that time. And you can just imagine how life would have been being in those. We never know. Any of us sitting in this room might have had the previous life.
Happening now, Prabhuji, in Iraq.
Even now it's happening. And today it's happening. So that's how the world is degrading. So even there, even this person who was loyal to Hitler and who is shooting people, already is in the mode of passion with the wrong ideology. Okay. On top of that, he is being bribed by the Schindler to supply Jews for the purpose of production. So that the Schindler has got a purpose. He wants to protect the Jews in one sense. But there also, this fellow is taking bribe from him and being disloyal to Hitler also in that sense. So already there is a demonic personality whose ideology you are following. And then money is higher than that philosophy. So you are taking money and you are also ditching that philosophy. So demonic philosophy, above that is money at the end of the day. So therefore here it is said that ulterior purpose actually drives people. It's not even philosophy. It's not even that philosophy. Ultimately what drove him was money. So, and these kind of people and these kind of ideologies are disturbing to mankind. They cause inconvenience to the body, soul, the body as well as the super soul. So we saw that. And these people are forced into birth in demonic wombs. We saw that. We saw about fasting. People who fast. Again, people who fast for ulterior motives.
Political reasons.
Political reasons. We saw that. We saw people who fast thinking that they will change the world by their fasting, which is an insult, Prabhupada says. I am going to, by my fasting I will bring about a change. Which means that change is not dependent on, there is no higher authority who is there to authorize the change. I will myself bring that change. There is an arrogance. Rejecting the person who is giving the results of the activities and thinking that our own activities should bring about a change.
How do we know if that person is being used as an instrument, or how do we perceive at that point in time? Because, for example, Mahatma Gandhi fasted, then he got his independence and so on. Today we have a leader like Narendra Modi who can then, so how do, back then we would have considered that his fasting is also similar, then how do we understand?
We understand because we understand if they are following the Vedic injunctions or not. So by that
based
we
on the
understand. What food do they eat? We will understand.
And what mode do they operate in, and what? Okay.
What is their faith? Do they have faith in? There can be atheists also who can be missionaries. Missionary doesn't mean theist. Missionary doesn't mean Vedantist. Doesn't mean that. Which means there can be people with good intentions but who are atheists. That is also there. There are many good people in this world who don't believe in God or who are agnostic. We find all kinds of people. So Prabhupada writes that there is an arrogance. It is an arrogance. It is an arrogance to reject the authority of the Supreme Personality. No matter how good you are. If you are rejecting the Supreme Authority, you are arrogant. It is mode of goodness mixed with mode of passion. Foods that increase duration of one's life. We saw what kind of foods are in mode of goodness. Juicy, fatty, wholesome. Milk, vegetable, sugar, rice, fruits, wheat, we saw all that. Too bitter, too sour, too salty, hot, pungent, dry and burning. These kind of foods is in mode of passion. And food which is decomposed, which gives bad odor. But some people like to revel in that. Just like the fly wants to suck the juice. Radhanath Maharaj says, fly wants to suck the juice in stool. It revels in that. Whereas the bumblebee wants to suck the nectar from the flowers. So again, different modes of material nature, different bodies, different tastes. So Prabhupada then sacrifices. Sacrifices must be done. Sacrifices which are done as duty and with respect to the deity are in mode of goodness. Sacrifices which are done for material benefits to beget the heavenly kingdom, or sacrifices which are done for pride, for a show of religiosity, that is in mode of passion. Sacrifices which disregard the scriptures completely, and sacrifices where no prasadam distribution is done, no Vedic hymns are chanted, no dakshina or charity is given. Okay? On sacrifices which are done with no faith, they are in mode of ignorance. We saw example, you can have a Bhagavad Saptah. You can do a complete Bhagavad Saptah without having an iota of faith in what is going on there. Right? And you can still spend a lot of money, invite a person, and you have nothing to do with it. So just prasadam distribution, Vedic hymns, etc. without any faith. You don't have faith. So that person doesn't get any benefit of it. So the next, Lord talks about the austerity of the body. In the austerity of the body, Srila Prabhupada has largely mentioned about austerity in the mode of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. So Srila Prabhupada writes that austerity of the body lies in using the body to worship the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master and the superiors. So the austerity of body involves these activities. Also, austerity of the body is also evident in certain practices, spiritual practices, like cleanliness. It's an austerity of the body. Whatever it is, it's an austerity to take bath, every day. For many people, not for devotees now, but for many people. Especially remember the hostel days. It was an austerity to take bath. So, in Kali Yuga actually, for us it may be simple, but I was hearing one Govind Prabhu's class, and he was mentioning there that there are people in this world. There is one of the queens of one big royal family queen, I think probably in England or somewhere, earlier, not now, who has taken bath twice in her life. Twice in her life. The first bath she was given when she was born by her parents, and the second bath she took before her marriage. That's all. Only twice. And then there is another personality who has never taken bath in his life. Water has not touched him. Like that. So he says there are personalities, and I forgot the names, but there are people like this.
Also, Muslim Buddha, like Nawab of Golconda or something, if taken like 60 times in a whole year, like
60 times bath.
60 times.
In Fiji, there is some sort
Means annually, I think you might have taken. Annual ablutions.
Because you believe that the energy you lose by taking the...
Lose energy by taking bath. So this is again an Vedic invention. So cleanliness, external as well as internal cleanliness. Okay? Both are austerity of the body. Internal cleanliness is also an austerity of the body. Celibacy is an austerity of the body. We want to indulge, but we don't indulge. It is appreciated in Krishna consciousness. Simplicity, austerity of the body. Living simply. Non-violence is an austerity of the body. Which means if the mosquito is biting, the instinct is to kill. But not blaming the mosquito. Keeping the house clean. So that the mosquito goes away on its own. It's like that. Like Prabhupada said, when the rats are coming into the kitchen, they asked Prabhupada, shall we kill the rats? Prabhupada said, no, you should be killed, not the rats. You people are keeping the place unclean. That is why rats are coming. So, non-violence. So these are austerity of the body. Now, and then the next is austerity of speech. So, in the mode of goodness, it is mentioned, austerity of speech involves speaking the truth. Truthfulness is austerity of speech. Speaking that which is pleasing to everyone. That is also austerity of speech. Sometimes we make mistakes, even with our family members. We sometimes speak very harsh, right? And then we repent after that. Happens with me also. With the people who we love most, our wife, our son, our parents, sometimes we tend to speak harshly. So that has to be checked. So this is where we have to learn a lot from people like Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very measured in his speech. When we see him, you sober down. Whenever I see him, I sober down. Otherwise, generally the tendency is to speak. When you see him, you sober down. So their association is very good. Such association is very good. So, pleasing. And whenever you see Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada speaks, it is very pleasing. Non-agitating. Even if he has to tell, even the regulative principles, he put it in such a way which is non-agitating. So that is the purity of the person. So this is mode of goodness. Reciting Vedic literature, that is also mode of goodness. And you can see. For example, even before I became a devotee, somehow in the morning, I was very attracted with this Kaushalya, Supraja, Rama, Purva, Sandhya, Pravartate, Krishna,
That is Suprapada.
So somehow in the morning when that comes, my alarm clock was also that. Even when I was traveling in Ahmedabad, that was my alarm clock. Somehow it just puts everything in perspective. When you start your morning hearing that, or if you start Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, if that is your alarm clock, you start in the morning, then simply those words bring you in the mode of goodness. So, reciting Vedic literature is in the mode of goodness. That sound is austerity of speech. So, making that sound is austerity of speech. Mode of passion. Mode of passion means what? Speech is what? Mode of passion? Speaking nonsense or gibberish. What is gibberish? Something which doesn't make any sense. For example, you will hear many Western songs sometimes. In fact, I used to like those songs. And you are the one, and Jeev, and do the one, and the one, and this is the tongue. Something like that. It doesn't make any sense. Correct? You have heard this kind of song? And I told her, and she told no, and something will go on. It's complete gibberish. You try to wonder why are you liking that song after some time. Why? Because you are the mode of passion. Now when you hear that song, you think, what is going on? Kya bak raha hai? Doesn't make any sense. But that time, at least when I was a teenager, I said, this is cool. Yeah, like that. Like that, something like that. And that fellow will go on speaking during the song. Like that. And it has no meaning. In fact, for me, my favorite rock guru was also one group called Duran Duran. I don't know whether anyone heard of this. Duran Duran was my favorite. Until many years later, I realized that their lyrics didn't have any meaning. They wrote lyrics which doesn't have any meaning. They didn't have any meaning. Okay. And then, after I liked their songs, I went and saw the lyrics and I said, I couldn't understand anything. And then I was told they are intentionally written like that. It is just an assembly of words. That's all. But then the music is so good that an assembly of words will bring. In fact, one of the songs brought tears to my eyes. Here I realized that there was no meaning to that song. It was called as Save a Prayer Till the Morning After. Have you heard that? Sorry, have you heard that song? No. Save a Prayer Till the Morning After. So it brought tears to my eyes till I realized that it didn't have any meaning. When I saw those words, I said, kya there is nothing coming out of their sentences. But somehow, some memory must have triggered out somewhere. Usually we are all emotional fools now. So some emotion must have triggered somewhere. I must have heard in some incident, and then later I hear that incident and I relate it to the song and I start crying. Something like that. Otherwise, in itself there is no meaning. So gibberish, mode of passion. So we go through that. Our teenage life, if you see, was full of, not at least, maybe some of you may be in mode of goodness, but mine was mode of passion, I can tell you, 100%, without doubt. Okay. And then, the mode of ignorance means what? Not gibberish, it goes down one level lower, foul language. Okay. And the songs are also very explicit. I don't know, obviously I am not going to do that here. You know what I mean. Songs are very explicit. Mode of ignorance. They just churn negative emotions inside. Because at least mode of passion, sometimes, this rock music or whatever, sometimes you put that on and I used to do exercise, like that, with that, whatever exercise that I was doing, for fitness those days. But mode of ignorance will give us nothing but, songs in mode of ignorance will just give rise to lust and laziness. Music also is category. Austerity of speech is also category. Speaking foul language is austerity of speech. No, is not austerity of speech. Now we talk about penances. So I was trying my best to understand what is the difference between austerity and penance. Anyone knows what is the difference between austerity and penance? So I was trying to see here and there, and the understanding which I have currently got by reading some here and there is austerity largely is considered with the body, and penance is largely associated with the mind. In one sense, austerity of mind and penance are almost same. Okay. So austerity of mind is again described. Penance.
So should we say austerity of mind / penance?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I have put in bracket penance. You can put slash also. So, in mode of goodness, what is penance in the mode of goodness? Which means what is austerity of mind in the mode of goodness? What does it mean? Always thinking good of others, sending positive energy to others. Always thinking good of others. Silence. Silence is an austerity of mind. Because silence is a reflection of the thoughts, of the tranquility of the mind. If the mind is tranquil, one is silent. If the mind is jumping up and down like a monkey, it will come out through the words. Yeah, you start. Correct? So our mouth is directly related to our mind. Right? Straightforwardness in dealings is also an austerity of the mind. Being simple and straightforward in dealing. Not a crooked mind. Complicated mind. So there is given in the mode of goodness. Austerity of mind is one which does not seek material benefits. Austerity of mind is one which has got faith in the Supreme. And the mind is dovetailed for the pleasure of the Supreme. Savai Mana Krishna Padara. And the austerity of the mind. So, this is interesting. Mode of goodness means thinking good for others and thinking good of others. Thinking good for others. Mode of pure goodness is thinking of the ultimate good of others. There is a difference between thinking good and thinking of the ultimate good. Thinking good for the elderly persons and building an old age home. Ultimate good is building an old age home and top of them giving them Krishna consciousness. So that they don't have to be born again to become old again. To go to another old age home. Right? Or born in animal species to go to the zoo and be taken care of. Right? So there is a difference between thinking good of others and thinking ultimate good of others. So that is Shuddha Sattva. Simplicity, gravity in thought, gravity in thinking, brave, self-control, purification of one's existence, detachment from sense gratification, becoming Krishna conscious is austerity of mind in pure goodness. Silence, but for the purpose of self-realization. Silence is good, it shows a tranquil state of the mind, no doubt. But that silence, which is for self-realization, is in the mode of pure goodness. What is silence in the mode of pure goodness? An example of silence. Yeah, we talk and talk only about Krishna. That is silence actually.
Opposite, chanting Hare Krishna is silence.
Chanting Hare Krishna is silence. So devotees, you will not usually find devotees, Aaj Maharaj Maun Vrat Dharan Kiye. He will not speak to anyone because he is silent. In some places you will find, if you go to some Baba here and there, outside of Vaishnavism, you will find that Babaji Maun Vrat Dharan. Babaji will not speak. He is not speaking since last 20 years. When you go to him, he will just give Ashirwad. He will not speak anything.
He'll have a board though.
Huh?
He'll have a
Or
board.
he'll have a board. But that is not Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism means you speak, but speak for the pleasure of Krishna. Speak topics of Krishna consciousness. Pushyan teacher, Raman teacher. Come together and speak. Ishta Gushta. So these are all austerity of mind in the mode of goodness and mode of pure goodness. Penance, which is in the mode of passion. This is duplicity. Duplicity is not austerity of the mind. The mind is affected by the mode of passion. Duplicity means what? Inside something, outside something else. Living double life. Mode of passion. Okay. Penances which are done for self-benefit. Penances which are done for pride, respect, honor, worship, self-puja. Right. These are all in the mode of passion. And austerity of mind in the mode of ignorance is that where the mind wants the destruction of others. Like yesterday, Schindler's List. Example I told you. Destruction of others. Vigna Santoshi. Vigna Santoshi means what? Seeing others in trouble and deriving joy out of it. That satisfies your mind. Destruction of others. Or self-torture. That is also penance in the mode of ignorance.
And that
Which means
is
the mind is not okay.
And that is against the Vedic Indian as well.
It's against Vedic intentions. Like for example, penances which Hiranyakashipu did are in the mode of ignorance. Then finally, charity. That charity which is done out of duty. That charity which is done out of duty with no expectation of return. Which is done at a proper place, at the proper time, given to a worthy person, which is done with discrimination, is called as charity in the mode of goodness. All this plus, if done in the context of Krishna consciousness, charity which is done for spiritual activities in the mode of pure goodness. So there is everything about mode of goodness and mode of pure goodness is essentially you will find one and the same. But only Krishna is there here. There Krishna is not there. Everything is good about it without Krishna. So here, charity which is for spiritual activities is perfect. For example, charity which you do at a pilgrimage, or simply the money you spend in going to a holy dham. Charity which is given at the right time during eclipses, Prabhupada writes, or end of month. Charity which is given to qualified Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. They are all in mode of pure goodness.
Is it pure goodness or goodness, Prabhu?
Pure goodness. Vaishnavas.
For Vaishnavas, okay.
Charity which is done with expectation of return. Is haath le, us haath de. That is called as charity in the mode of passion. Charity which is done with an expectation of fruitive results is also in the mode of passion. Charity which is done in a grudging mood is also in the mode of passion. Not very happy. Okay, take it. Sometimes in Janmashtami when you ask, can you increase that? Okay, fine, I'll make it 101. From 51. Okay. The wife is not very happy, she's staring at the husband. She's not very happy. You can't tell him. Grudging. This is the mode of passion. Or charity which is done at the request of a superior or boss. And charity in the mode of ignorance. Impure place. Charity which is given at an impure place, at an impure time, to an unworthy person without proper attention and respect. Charity is given to an unworthy person. This is what many times we have to do. Sometimes situations come in our life. We are unworthy persons come and ask charity. Sometimes it could even be a relative who is drinking all the time, who has never settled down in a proper job, led an irresponsible life, now lying in bed with liver cancer, liver cirrhosis, still drinking, and then saying that I am on deathbed, you people should give me money, support my family. You married, you never could stop your liquor, and you expect others to support your family. And when you give money, again it will go to liquor, drink further liquor. We have to be very careful. We should give it to a deserving person, to a responsible person. Or sometimes you give it to the beggars. In Bombay, every signal you will find. You give it to them, then they will go and buy some BD. Or they will, you see children also gambling with the money in Bombay. You give money, after some time you will go on the footpath, they are gambling with the money. Hey, I 10 paisa laga. Another person will put 10 paisa. They will gamble, even children. So this is mode of ignorance. So that is, all these things are described till verse 22. Now verse 23. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Pankajani Mother, you want to read?
It has been explained that penance, sacrifice, charity and foods are divided into three categories: the modes of goodness, passion and ignorance. But whether first class, second class or third class, they are all conditioned, contaminated by the material modes of nature. When they are aimed at the Supreme, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Eternal, they become means for spiritual elevation. In the scriptural injunctions, such an objective is indicated. These three words, Om, Tat, Sat, particularly indicate the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Vedic hymns, the word Om is always found. One who acts without following the regulations of the scriptures will not attain the absolute truth. He will get some temporary result, but not the ultimate end of life. The conclusion is that the performance of charity, sacrifice and penance must be done in the mode of goodness. Performed in the mode of passion or ignorance, they are certainly inferior in quality. The three words Om Tat Sat are uttered in conjunction with the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Example, Om Tat Vishnu. Whenever a Vedic hymn or the holy name of the Supreme Lord is uttered, Om is added. This is an indication of Vedic literature. These three words are taken from Vedic hymns. Om iti etad dhamano nidishtam, Rama, indicates the first goal. Then Tat Tvam Asi indicates the second goal. And Sat Eva Saumya indicates the third goal. Combined they become Om Tat Sat. Formerly when Brahma, the first created divinity, performed sacrifices, he indicated by these three words the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the same principle has always been followed by the cyclic succession. So this hymn has great significance. Bhagavad Gita recommends, therefore, that any work done should be done for Om Tat Sat or for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one performs penance, charity and sacrifice with these three words, he is acting in Krishna Consciousness. Krishna Consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activities which enables one to return home back to Godhead. There is no loss of energy in acting in such a transcendental way.
What happens?
Basically, it actually talks about rising to Vasudeva Sattva by performing activities and obtaining it to the Lord. It is only given something more success.
Yeah, good point. Very good.
I'm not sure whether I understood correctly, but just a clarification. Does it mean that when we chant Om Tat Sat and if you donate to a beggar, it will become, you'll come to Vasudeva? Does it mean that?
Om Tat Sat means what? You have understanding of the absolute truth and then you are doing charity with that understanding. Okay. If you are chanting Om Tat Sat and giving to a liquor shop or to a beggar who is going to drink, that means then that is only lip service, Om Tat Sat. There is no realization behind it. It's not something which is to be just said and
So it's the
I
realization.
say Om Tat Sat and I just shoot him. Like sometimes villains do, no? Bollywood movie they show Om. Something like that they will do. Just for melodrama they will do like that. Fellow will be, will be doing some very nice puja and he will shoot also suddenly. Like that. So, yeah. So Om Tat Sat means that you are completely understanding. Actually, what is the essence of what Prabhupada is trying to say here? The essence is actually there is nothing to be sacrificed. What did we bring? Nothing. So what are we sacrificing? What are we giving in charity? What is ours, first of all? Devamrit Maharaj says, I renounce Citibank. If someone says like that, people will laugh. He says, Citibank never belongs to you. No, I renounce it. It never was yours in the first place. So, Om Tat Sat consciousness means actually the Ishavasya principle. That everything animate and inanimate belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Idam Krishnaya idam na mama. It doesn't belong to me. That is the gist, essence is that. So whenever we do something, we do it just as an instrument of Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. Oh Lord, your own energy I am directing for your pleasure. In the form of charity, in the form of penance, in the form of sacrifice, whatever. I am not the doer, neither I am doing it for my pleasure. That is the essence of this purport. So chanting Om Tat Sat purifies all the activities because your consciousness is now clear. So it purifies all the activities with which that chanting is combined. But it is not just being bol bachcha, just saying Om Tat Sat and doing something else. Not like that. It's actually feeling it. Oh, that's when is laughing. Don't write that like that. Otherwise, we can say so many things. No? Big things we can say. And we will not do anything. The consciousness is different. Right? Doing, execution. So, therefore, Lord Krishna's name should be part of all tapasya, should be part of all charity and sacrifice, to remove any discrepancies that are inherent in those activities and ensure that the consciousness of all the participants who are performing these activities is elevated. That is the gist. That is why Om Tat Sat. Even when Jayapataka Maharaj Swami, if you see, every time he gives a class, he says that. Kam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamma mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Jayapataka Maharaj is the only Acharya I have seen who, I have not seen all Acharyas, but at least in Melbourne, out of whoever I have heard, he always uses that word before he starts a lecture. Hari Om Tat Sat. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj also says that. Disciplic succession. Yeah, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj also I heard. Correct. So, Hari Om Tat Sat he says. Which means he is dedicating that class, he is giving that class for the pleasure of Supreme Personality of God. That's the consciousness we must have in activities when we do. For example, when ISKCON temple opening was there, which all of you know, in Vrindavan, and Prabhupada, obviously Prabhupada had social obligations also. He also wanted to give it a flavor of a Hindu temple. He didn't want to make it, Gore Logon ka mandir hai. So Prabhupada was very sharp in reading those things. So Prabhupada said that, let us call as Martha Brahmanas, and they were doing all the yajnas. All hymns were being chanted. But then he called the devotees to do Harinam Sankirtan. And Prabhupada said, now the real yajna begins, Prabhupada said, after all that. This is a real yajna. When the consciousness, when people who are doing that are doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, or whatever has been done is being offered to them. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. So far there has been a comparison of mode of ignorance, passion and goodness. So it is mentioned that the Vedas teach us the path of gradual elevation from the mode of ignorance to the mode of goodness, or mode of passion to the mode of goodness. This is what the Vedas try to bring us to that platform. However, just being in the mode of goodness is not the ultimate conclusion that Lord Krishna wants to make in this section. His real desire is more direct. His real desire is not to just instruct on the mode of goodness, just to elevate actually one beyond the three modes of material nature. And that is what he is describing in the next few verses. So, it's in 24 if you see, the last three letters of the word is what? 4 letters, to attain the Supreme. Does it make sense? So there a prayojana is given, a goal of activity is given to attain the Supreme. So that is now, having talked about mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, now he is talking about the mode of pure goodness. People who have faith in the Supreme do activities not in these 3 modes, but they do activities in Shuddha Sattva, which is to attain the Supreme. Yet another aspect he is giving in 25 to 27, he is giving those aspects. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendent activities is to get free from material entanglement. So he is giving the second purpose of activities. Whatever activities we do, whatever music we hear, whatever worship we do, whatever austerities we perform, whatever sacrifices we do, whatever charity we do, whatever fasting we do, right? All those aspects we saw in the previous section. Whatever foods we eat. So why should we do that? A, to attain the supreme, and or to get free from material entanglement. And the third, 26 to 27, he says the absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Krishna. So he is giving the last three verses, that the mood of all this ultimately, whatever you do, should be to please the Supreme. And that is where he is bringing the conclusion gradually. Though, when we discussed, we already discussed the mode of pure goodness. But if you see the flow, it is discussing mode of ignorance, passion, goodness. And then finally Lord is saying, no, mode of pure goodness. But we discussed mode of pure goodness when we discussed those different parameters also. We discussed before, so but in the flow it comes here. Yes.
Can you say that Om Tat Sat actually refers to Sambandha, Abhidaya and Prayojan? Because here it's saying that Sat is the activity that you do. Sorry, Om Tat, Sat is the activity that you do, and Sat is your devotion service is the ultimate goal.
Yes, it does. You can say that.
You can say that, no?
Because the absolute truth is, in terms of Sambandha, the absolute truth is the source of all. The absolute truth is qualitatively one. Okay, that is Sambandha. In terms of Abhidaya, the process of chanting, Abhinnatvam Nama Naminam, the absolute truth is not different from the holy name. Okay. And in terms of Prayojana, the Prayojana is attaining the absolute truth. You can say that. Okay. So, 26, 27. Anyone wants to read the purport? Purport.
The word Prasade Karmani of prescribed duty indicates that there are many activities prescribed in the Vedic literature which are purificatory processes, beginning from the time of conception up to the end of one's life. Such purificatory processes are adopted for the ultimate liberation of the living entity. In all such activities, it is recommended that one vibrate Om Tat Sat. The words Sat Bhave and Sadhu Bhave indicate the transcendental situation. Acting in Krishna consciousness is called Sattva, and one who is fully conscious of the activities of Krishna consciousness is called a Sadhu. The Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25-25, it is said that the transcendental subject matter becomes clear in the association of the devotees. The words used are Satam Prasanga. Without good association, one cannot achieve transcendental knowledge. When initiating a person or offering a sacred thread, one vibrates the words Om Tat Sat. Similarly, in all kinds of performance of yajna, the object is the Supreme, Om Tat Sat. The word Tat Athiyam further means offering service to anything which represents the Supreme, including such service as cooking and helping in the Lord's temple, or any other kind of work for broadcasting the glories of the Lord. These Supreme words, Om Tat Sat, are thus used in many ways to perfect all activities and make everything complete.
Any point?
Om Tat Sat makes all our activities perfect.
Sorry, who was?
Can you explain the first one, what it means? That say.
Can you explain what?
Like, first one, Etat Brahmano Nirishtam. What does it mean?
What
In that purport.
verse 23?
23.
Purport of verse 23.
I was just looking at that
That chant you know,
I looked this up. Yeah. So there is a part explanation which is given, which I will tell now. Okay. Exactly word-to-word translation I don't have. Gurujan Prabhu also doesn't clarify that. Surrender unto me. Neither does whatever Prabhupada has written is here. Right? But then, in verse now, whatever verse that we read, there some aspect of that is given. Okay. And that's all that information that I have at this point in time. So verse 26-27, it is mentioned that any activity which is done, which is not done for the pleasure of the Lord, or by that activity we don't develop love for Lord, is useless waste of time. Dharma swapanushtita pumsam vishwasena asuyah na utpadaya diratim dharma eva ikevalam. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse 8. 1.2.8. Any activity which is done doesn't generate rati is useless waste of time. Okay. Now, how does one develop the mood then to do activities for the pleasure of the Lord? Correct? First I have to, then how do I develop that desire by which I get taste in those activities, ruchi, and I do those activities and the Lord is also pleased with those activities. There is rati which is coming in that activity. So Prabhupada gives the solution here by what? How do I develop that rati? By associating with devotees and hearing. From hearing. By doing those activities in the association of Satam Prasangat. Satam Prasangat Mamavirya. Like that. Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasayana Katha. Means what? One has to hear Krishna Katha from the holes of one's ears. Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasayana Katha. Hrit means the heart. And Karna means what?
Yes.
Yes. Like that. One has to hear from the heart and the ears. In the association of devotees. Satam Prasangat. In the association of devotees. Mama Virya. Mama Virya means one must hear my pastimes and glories about me in this association. Mama Virya Samvita. Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasayana Katha. Tad Joshanat Asu Apavarga Vartmani. If one does that, then immediately one attains the Vasudeva platform. Asu means past. Apavarga Vartmani. Apavarga Vartmani means above the three modes. Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. So when you are in association of devotees, Shraddha will come, faith will come, Rati will come. You will get the taste and Bhakti will also come in the sequence. Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. So Satam Prasanga. So that is how we can develop the desire to please the Lord and therefore devote our activities for His pleasure. Now coming to your question, Srila Prabhupada in the 1950s, it is mentioned, in the 1950s, Srila Prabhupada, whenever he used to write something, he always used the letters Om Tat Sat before he used to sign his letters. Prabhupada used to say Om Tat Sat and then he used to write his name.
Even in Srimad Bhagavatam introduction,
he is doing that.
Yes.
Good observation. In Bhagavad Gita also he has done that. Where has Prabhupada signed?
Not in...
not here?
Not over here, in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Somewhere Prabhupada's signature is there. It's not there in Bhagavad Gita.
It is there.
Where?
But
it's written there. It's not written there.
Before page 1, please.
Yeah, it's here, it's not written.
Yeah, but in Srimad...
It was 1950s. 1971. So, in 1950s it is said that Prabhupada used to place that. Maybe he...
Yeah.
You were saying maybe...
Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam introduction was written in 1962.
Okay, there also he wrote that.
Yes.
So, Prabhupada writes here, Gurujan Prabhu writes here that Om stands for the name of Lord Vishnu. Om stands for the name of Lord Vishnu. Tat is chanted to achieve liberation. And Sat means all activities are performed for Lord's pleasure and therefore they are eternal. Neha Vikramana Sosti. Whatever activities performed for the Lord's pleasure never go in vain because the benefits are eternal.
So can you just repeat? Om is Vishnu.
Om, name of Lord Vishnu.
Yes.
Tat is chanted to achieve liberation. And Sat means all activities are performed for Lord's pleasure and are eternal. It talks about the eternality of activities. So that is all I have, Arvind Prabhu, on that.
I thought Prabhu, Om stands for Krishna rather than Vishnu. What's the difference?
How Om does not stand for Lord Vishnu? Then you have to explain that now. It's a new philosophy.
Bhagavad Gita Lord says.
What?
I'm Om. I'm Om.
Syllable Om. Sacred.
Correct. So he doesn't say.
And he is also Vishnu.
How does it imply that? Om comes from the body of Mahavishnu actually. It's a sound which comes when the universes are getting created from his pores. So how can it not be? So Krishna and Vishnu are one and the same.
Yeah.
Krishna is the highest Vishnu.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So be careful when you make this statement. It is not, sampradayically it is not correct. Sorry, technically it is not correct. Om is not. Om is Narayana. No doubt about it. Nobody will refute them. And Narayana and Krishna, they are one and the same. Huh? Sat means all activities performed for the Lord's pleasure and are eternal. So these verses towards the end are stressing the importance of coming out of the three modes of material nature and engaging in service. So after hearing which activities are Sat, all activities that you do, whether it is music you hear or austerity you do, everything, if done for the pleasure of Supreme, okay, Om Tat Sat, are Sat, eternal in their benefits. So after having heard which activities are Sat, one may want to know, okay, what activities are Asat. And that is given in the final verse of chapter 28. Anything done as sacrifice, charity or penance without faith in the Supreme, O son of Pritha, is impermanent. Impermanent means asat. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next. So any activity which is done without shraddha or faith. That is why it is said that shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, nitya nivedya. The whole ladder of bhakti begins with, if that is not there, then no use of doing anything. Without faith, no use of doing anything. We cannot be chanting for years and wondering, does Krishna exist? Or what happens if it doesn't exist? Yeah.
Why is it said that in the next life it is the word in the next life it's not beneficial, but
what?
You just mentioned that somewhere it is said that in the next life it is anything, the activity done without faith is useless basically.
Correct.
You use the
I am not saying Krishna is saying.
I mean, yeah, you read the word. You read the word. I cannot find it. My question is, when we do charity, this is normal charity, not devotion service related. Normal charity. We say that
Devotional charity is normal charity. Others are abnormal charity. Anything done in the three modes of material nature is abnormal.
Abnormal charity. For any abnormal charity, when we do charity, it leads to some pious karma, right? So that the effect of that you will get in the next life or later on in this lifetime. So why are we saying that the
effect we will get what?
The benefit of abnormal charity.
And charity in a mode of goodness, let's say you do.
Yes.
Then what is your...
We will get some pious credits.
Correct.
Right? Correct. So we are saying, why we are saying it is useless, you are still getting some credits, right?
Dharma swa anushtita pumsa. We answered that. Vishvaksena kathasu yaha na utpadeyed yadi ratim shramaya kevalam. Does it generate Krishna Bhakti in you, that charity?
No. So we are talking from the Krishna Bhakti. It is useless from the Krishna Bhakti point of view, but otherwise you are still getting...
It is useless. Anything which is not in Krishna Bhakti's point of view is useless. So it is not that it is useless from the Krishna Bhakti point of view, but it is useful from other point of view. That is why it's called absolute truth. Please understand. Absolute truth means there is only one truth. It is useless, full stop. Period. It is useless. Because anything which is useful is only Krishna Bhakti. All other things are useless. It's like saying, jail mein 50 people are staying in Hitler's concentration camp. The bed is painted recently. I am sponsoring paint. Just like you see this movie itself, this Hitler, what he is doing. At the end of the day, he is also drinking wine. He is also enjoying women. He is not as Hitler was a saintly personality. There was some mode of goodness inside his heart, right? But he cannot be called as Paramahamsa. If you see that, you will understand. Okay? So he is doing some activity. He developed some compassion later for the Jews. Initially, he wants to only make money out of that labor. He has come to make money in that place. But later on, he is developing compassion when he sees a small girl walking like this, in a red dress. And then he sees and then he feels moved. His heart is moving because the girl's parents are dead. And she is looking for her parents. And after some time, he sees her, that red gowned girl, she is also dumped in a truck. Her body is dumped. So he now realizes that she has also been killed. And then it melts his heart. Suddenly he says, oh, I am making money here, but I should help these people. And then he uses all that money which he wanted to earn in bribing the Nazi officials so that the Jews can be released from concentration camps. Does it make sense? So this is wonderful if you see. Does it produce Rati? Actually, if you see in one sense, from a devotional perspective. However nice it may look. When I saw the movie, I realized, I said, hats off to Schindler. What a nice man. Yes, very nice activity. Glorious. He saved some life. But can he save the repeated cycle of birth, disease, old age, and simply with producing, opening factories and giving financial support? Or just saving them from one aspect of death? So then all these activities, yes, he will get pious credit, no doubt for doing that. No doubt about that. But again, he will go to the heavenly planets, enjoy for some time and come back. So any activity which is done, however nice, but which binds you or which is in relation to the three modes of material nature, which keeps you inside the material realm, is useless in that sense. Anything is useless. Because everything is illusion. Everything is illusion. Our birth, death, old age, disease, our sufferings, our happiness in this material world, everything is illusion. It comes because of matra sparshas tu kaunteya, sita ushna sukha tu kadana. It comes only because of sense perception. Our happiness is sense perception. Our misery is also because of sense perception. There is no absolute reality here in this.
So Master is guiding in this situation. Is the example which you are giving that he saw the girl in the red gown or whatever. The Paramatma was guiding like, okay, this is wrong or this should be stopped or this thing should be done. So what is the role of Paramatma in this case? Can we say it was totally useless even though Paramatma was guiding within to do this?
He didn't say, it was useless from the point of view that what did he do? Ultimately he didn't save that girl. The girl died afterwards and then he realized that okay, he will save the rest of the people. So he saved some people. But at the end of the day, he got repaid for that even in the same lifetime. If you see in this case, he got repaid in the end of the lifetime. Because what happened? After that, by the time the World War was coming to an end and Germany was already defeated, and Eisenhower had taken over, and then what happened? The Jews were declared as free. So whoever survived, they all started their own business, and Jews are known to be very intelligent people. Actually, if you see even in Australia, the best schools are Jewish schools here. Top, all those schools. What is that? Beth Rivka and Yeshiva College. These are all top schools like that. Jewish students. And there generally you will find many lawyers or successful people here in Australia, in any country, even in US. You will find they are all Jews. So what happened was, but Schindler, what he did was when the Jews now became came back into the mainstream economy, by that time this fellow became useless. He had lost all his money. So they supported him financially till the end of his life. In the same lifetime, they supported Srinath. It was ulta, reverse. Out of gratitude, they supported him. But that's all. At the end of it, the story ends. That's it. And then they place two flowers on his womb, on his whatever, the tomb. Over. After that, what? Yeah, maybe some enjoyment in the heavenly planets. That's it. Or in the next lifetime, when he is being persecuted, maybe
he'll be saved with
because he has also eaten meat and drunk. For that, he has to get reaction. So when he is getting his reaction, that fellow who he saved in the previous lifetime will save him. That's all. It ends with that. Is this the highest? Coming like a dog, living like a dog, and being saved from time to time. The whole material world existence, person who removes you from the jail is your true well-wisher.
The question was more towards what is the role of the Paramatma here?
Role of the Paramatma told him, okay, please don't. He moved him on his heart. Paramatma guided him. He listened to the voice of Paramatma. Okay. Paramatma does not guide only devotees. Paramatma guides everybody.
He is not even taking the guidance of the super soul. Like in this scenario, he hasn't gone back and he said what shall I do? Please, I surrender unto you. Please guide me. And then he listened to the super soul, and then super soul will guide you. In this scenario, basically, he felt, very kind. Basically, he said, what have I done? All these people have died. So he's not really listening to the super soul or anything. He hasn't surrendered to the super soul saying, please guide me, what shall I do? So in this sense, basically, okay, super soul, at this stage is just listening, okay, I will do some charitable act.
Correct. It's not a full surrender to super soul. See, surrender to super soul, what is the indication of surrender to super soul? Acceptance of a spiritual master. That is surrender to super soul. The Paramatma is Chaitya Guru. Paramatma leads you to a bona fide spiritual master who will help you escape the samsara sagara. Okay. That is when you are really surrendering to Paramatma. That's the highest instruction of the Paramatma. Here, some goodness is there, some mode of goodness is there, some voice from inside. Okay, fine, I will not kill. In fact, even the villain in the movie, once he hears the Paramatma. The villain in the movie, who is again a real-time character, who is actually shooting the Nazis. The fellow I told you, who is aiming the rifle just for practice at an old woman. So even that person, in one instance, because Schindler goes and gives him some advice, he says, power, and it's a very good statement, he says, power is when you can kill, when you can harm, but you choose not to harm. That is power, he said. That's a very profound statement. For us, these things really don't touch you as much as it will touch the common man. Because Prabhupada didn't told that to us. We are dealing with a much higher philosophy. But then for people who are in the common man, it will get you an Oscar award, this kind of a dialogue. Power is when you can and you don't. This we hear in every Bhagavatam class. Correct, no? Humility is when you can dominate, when you don't. Integrity is when you can do something wrong, when nobody is watching, still you don't. We have heard all these things in so many Bhagavatam. So it didn't move me much. I said, yeah, it's a good one, yeah. Prabhupada also said that. For me it was like this. Good statement. But for an outsider, this is profound. What is this? And then this fellow is getting moved. This criminal gets moved by that dialogue. And therefore the next person who comes now, he does a mistake, he says, I pardon you. And they are also shocked. And then we are thinking that, finally this devil has changed. And then the next person comes. And then he is cleaning the bathtub. But he leaves a stain, this young boy, like Aditya's age might be. He cleans the bathtub because the children are also doing labor in the concentration camp. There is one small stain which is not going anywhere. By bleach also it's not going. So he stands like this and tells, sorry, I'm sorry. I tried my best to clean that bathtub, but it is not going. And then he starts getting angry and then he says, I pardon you. And then he smiles. And then he goes. And then he walks down the staircase. That boy goes out. He takes his gun from top, he shoots it. That pardon was only for a fraction of a second. Again the devil is taking over. So this is not surrender. This is what Prabhupada says. Mano rathena sati dhavato bhai. Sometimes the devil also comes in the mode of goodness. And again it falls down. If you see Schindler's character also, personality, yeah, he was temporarily came into the mode of goodness because of that incident. That's all. But actually, if you see his life, he is also drinking, whining, and dining throughout the movie, and he has come to make money over there at the end of the day. So there is no spirituality, there is no Christianity also there. Whereas one would have wondered that he should have surrendered and become a Christian, and become a true Christian who can give message of Jesus to everyone. But that you don't see these people doing that. So that is, now you are trying to give them something spiritual, which is the highest.
I think Ashoka, like after all the warfare, he actually surrendered.
Correct.
To Lord Buddha. So
Correct.
he went like
That's one step towards transcendence. Yeah. Good example. Okay.
Is it what they're trying to say? You don't have to be religious to be human. Is that what is being portrayed?
You don't have to be
religious or follow any Vedic principles or any religious principles to be human. To show comparison, maybe that's what they're trying to portray.
So, verse 28, which is the last verse. Anything done as sacrifice, charity or penance without faith in the Supreme is impermanent. It is called asat and it is useless both in this life and the next. Prema Tarangini Mataji, you want to read the purport?
Anything done without the transcendental objective, whether it be sacrifice, charity or penance, it is useless. Therefore, in this verse it is declared that such activities are abominable. Everything should be done for the Supreme in Krishna consciousness. Without such faith and without the proper guidance, there can never be any fruit. In all Vedic scriptures, faith in the Supreme is advised. In the pursuit of all Vedic instructions, the ultimate goal is the understanding of Krishna. No one can obtain success without following this principle. Therefore, the best course is to work from the very beginning in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. This is the way to make everything successful. In the conditional state, people are attracted to worshipping demigods, ghosts, or yakshas like Kuvera. The mode of goodness is better than the modes of passion and ignorance. But one who takes directly to Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all three modes of material nature. Although there is a process of gradual elevation, if one by the association of pure devotees takes directly to Krishna consciousness, that is the best way, and that is recommended in this chapter. To achieve success in this way, one must first find a proper spiritual master and receive training under his direction. Then one can achieve faith in the Supreme. When that faith matures in course of time, it is called love of God. This love is the ultimate goal of the living entities. One should therefore take to Krishna consciousness directly. That is the message of this 7th chapter.
What is the message of the 17th chapter?
Take to Krishna. Take it
directly.
So the message of the direct
association of
take
devotees.
Krishna consciousness directly.
Through association of devotees.
Through association of devotees. So without faith, any activity is done is not pleasing to the Lord, because the Lord is bhavagrahi. Lord is bhavagrahi. So today in Milpak program we are doing the Vaishnava etiquette manual. We are nearing the end of Vaishnava etiquette manual. So there is one sentence which was there about chanting. Vasan Prabhu, you remember? Japa section we were seeing one sentence where it is mentioned that the Lord is very pleased when the devotee is sincerely trying to develop a desire to chant attentively. Desiring and endeavoring to chant attentively. To chant properly. That is very pleasing. It is said in the Vaishnava etiquette manual. It is not said one must chant attentively. It is said one must desire and make an effort to chant attentively. And that's good enough for the Lord. Because attentive chanting is the result. Endeavor to chant attentively is an effort. Desire to chant attentively is the integrity of our thinking. Right? So the Lord is Bhavagri. He doesn't see whether you have not put salt in the food. The Lord doesn't mean that He gets angry and He says, oh, shh, you are cursed now. It is not like that. If you meant to put salt in the food, then the Lord will take it as salt is already there in the food. That's the beauty of our Lord. He sees only the intent. Because results He Himself knows are in His hands. So therefore, any activity done with faith, even if it has got other imperfections in its end, is pleasing to the Lord. Whereas a perfect activity done without faith doesn't make any sense to Him. The most opulent dishes which were prepared by Duryodhana were rejected by the Lord. When he went, he was invited for a feast. He rejected, went to the house of Vidura and ate banana peel. And he said, this is very tasty. This is the Lord, who sees the intent, who sees the love in everything. Ultimately, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Please manage the children because they are very distracting to me at this point in time. So please manage them. Please, thoda sober bana do. 2 minutes. Otherwise I can't concentrate to this. Problem here is that the parents' attention are also there, so they are also not hearing.
So it's the time in the day, 9 o'clock.
Understand? Kya kar sakte hain bolo? I am happy to shift the Bhaktivedanta timing next year. Bhakti Shastri timing next year, but I can't do it now. So you have to bear with me. What to do? But you have to make endeavor to keep the children quiet. You agree, no?
Yes.
So the Lord is Patra Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktiya Prajati. Tadaham Bhakti Uparatam Asnami Prajatapana. So he is everywhere, he is only seeing the main component, ingredient kya hai? Bhakti. Bhakti. Correct? So, Prabhupada's the key message is giving is that one must avoid the gradual process of elevation in the banyan tree and take to the direct process of Krishna consciousness. Don't go to karma kand here, there, directly take to Krishna. Don't try to purify yourself, come to the mode of goodness through karma kanda. Don't do all that. Directly take to Krishna consciousness and let's go back to it. Even because of our natures, our faiths, even if they vary in quality, intensity, still, Prabhupada says, whatever nature you are coming from, whatever faith you are coming from, engage in hearing from pure devotees, and then by that your faith will be established in the spiritual platform. Don't worry about which background you are coming from. Whichever faith you are coming from, engage in Hare Nama Anukirtanam. That is the doubtless and fearless process in Kali Yuga. Eta nirvadya mananam Ichchatam apudo vayam yoginam rupa nirnitam Hare Nama. Doubtless and fearless way for all in Kali Yuga. So engage in that process. When faith matures, when Shraddha matures, then it becomes Prema. From Shraddha to Prema. Somebody gave a seminar on this. From Shraddha to Prema. Who was that? Shankarnanda Saripari. 2 years back. From Shraddha to Prema. So when faith matures, it develops into Prema. Prabhupada writes that. So cut off the attachment to matter and attain the spiritual world through the process of pure devotional service. So that brings us to the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Reach there. Hearing that. Story time.
So the sub feature that's been discussed here in this chapter, how it's related to the sub which we normally discuss in the Satchidan, the eternity. Here it is sat is an activity and a process. And form Sattva. And in the Satchidananda also we have the same sub feature where it is referred to the eternity feature of our own. So how these two are related?
The Lord is eternal and any activities which are done for His pleasure are eternal.
So are they related or are they the same?
They are related. Any activity which is done in relation to the absolute truth has got the feature of eternality. I don't know, the way I can explain is, do you know Java? Okay, Java, they say, what is that called as? Those three things in Java. Inheritance, what is that? The basics of Java. Huh? Class, inheritance, whatever. Polymorphism. Okay, whatever. So I remembered, I'm not a Java expert. I studied years back. I just did the first 2 chapters and then realized I can't do this Java. I took another line. But I do remember that the object inherits that quality. Because we are all part and parcels of Krishna. Anything in connection to the absolute truth inherits the property of eternality. From that, he is a supreme object, supreme absolute truth. Any class, subclass that comes from that is in connection to him is eternal.
If you do the child class.
Pardon?
If you do the child class.
Child class, yes, it's a child class, yes. Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loka, child, we are all his children. He is eternal father. So, how many of you are Java here? Java programmers? Anyone? Nobody?
We did a long time.
Long time ago. I went for one day and gave up. I went to the NIIT. I said, no, I'm not cut out for programming. I wanted to go to foreign Janaka. Like that's why I went. Mechanical engineering wouldn't have sent me abroad. Goes this. Janeshwar Prabhu, you came here. Good mechanical engineers do come.
That's why I don't think of Java. I go to Java
bike. Okay. So we come to the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. So see, the chapter is all talking about renunciation. So at the end of the whole study of Bhagavad Gita, what must be developed? Vairagya Vidya. Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga. So everything should lead us to the point of renunciation. And all this conversation. And Krishna consciousness is the perfection of renunciation. How? We will see. Conclusion. Okay. So atop Mount Meru, on the top of Mount Meru, there is a place called Amaravati, not the Maharashtra Amaravati. It is on top of Mount Meru, which was built by Vishwakarma, a celestial architect. And over there, Indra lives along with Sachi, his wife, and served by the demigods. So Indra was happily living there. So one day, Indra was sitting very peacefully in his palace, okay, when a very beautiful personality arrived there. Very beautiful personality. The moment this personality arrived there, Indra saw that all the servants of Lord Vishnu were worshipping this personality. Okay. So when he saw that, he couldn't tolerate somebody worshipping someone else in his ilaka, in his palace. So he fell down from his throne in shock. He fell to the ground from his throne. He couldn't say, "Ye kya hua? I am supposed to be worshipped, what is this?" So he fell to the ground. When he fell to the ground, to add insult to injury, the demigods who were worshipping Indra earlier, his crown also fell down. No? So they took his crown and went and put that on that person. And crowned that person as the new Indra. Okay. This was too much for him. Okay. And on top of that, further, all the denizens of the heavenly planets started doing arti to this personality. Whoever came, beautiful personality. Arti to him. Great rishis came there and started offering blessings to that personality. Gandharvas and Apsaras who were hereby chanting for Indra's pleasure started now singing, glorifying that personality, who was the new Indra. So, the old Indra was very surprised. Now, how is this happening? So, he's thinking, who is this personality? I built all the dams here. He didn't build any dams. He did not dig any well. He did not plant any trees. He did not do any charity, to the best of my knowledge. He did not provide grains to the people of this place whenever there was drought. He did not do any fire sacrifices. Nothing, none of the activities in mode of goodness he has done. How dare he can occupy my seed. That's how Indra is thinking. And there people are glorifying him now. I did all this hard work. Samaj Seva. Right? And he comes and then he takes the seat. So he goes, he's disturbed. So he goes to Lord Vishnu in the ocean of milk. So Lord Vishnu tells Indra, free of this.
The 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
So Lord Vishnu tells Indra,
chant chapter 18.
No, not so blatant. So who is this person? Who is now the new Indra? Huh? Lord Vishnu himself.
Devotee of Lord.
Yeah, so he is a person who has chanted the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Every day in his life, this person chanted 5 shlokas, only 5 shlokas from the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And thereby he has derived the results of all pious activities. Okay. And yajnas. And therefore he is sitting here. Not only that, after he enjoys your position, he will come back to the spiritual world. So, he says, Lord Vishnu is telling him that this person would daily recite this, and therefore he has got this. So Indra, now he realized that it was powerful Jesus. It's chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita. So he took the form of a Brahmana, he comes down to the world, material world. He was already in the material world, he comes down to earth. He goes to the bank of the Godavari river, where there is a town called Kalegrani, where the Lord is worshipped as Kaleshwar. So on the banks of this place, which is called as Kalegrani, the banks of the Godavari river, there is a pure Brahmana, very merciful Brahmana, who has understood the topmost goal of all Vedic scriptures, who decides daily 18 chapters, daily he recites the 18th chapter. So Lord Indra goes and tells him, please teach me the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, gets training with him, and then Lord Indra also attends Vaikuntha. When he attained that Vaikuntha place, Lord Indra realized that the pleasure he had enjoyed as King Indra was nothing in comparison to the enjoyment in Vaikuntha. Therefore, we don't have to go to, you don't have to go to balcony seat and then go to, what is it? You don't have to go to upper stall and then go to balcony. You will directly go to balcony seat. You don't know what is upper stall? Oh, sorry. You will never know now. How many of you understood what I said?
Movie theater sitting.
Madhavan Prabhu is a pure devotee. He didn't raise his hand, so he doesn't know what is upper stall. Tell me honestly, you don't know what's upper stall. Lower stall and balcony. Huh? These are all seats in a theater. Dress circle is the highest. Dress circle. In the box is the highest. So directly we are getting box pleasure in life. We don't aspire for balcony seat and all that. Lord Shiva concludes that the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita has got few characteristics. Please listen carefully. This may come in your exam. The 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita has got a few characteristics. It is higher than the Vedas. It offers unlimited bliss. Destroys all material desires. Don't note down. I was just joking. It's not coming down. Just to get your attention. Okay. The 18th chapter, now you have stopped writing.
We also striked it.
So Lord Shiva concludes that the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is higher than the Vedas. It offers unlimited bliss, destroys all material desires. It's a divine nectar for devotees, this 18th chapter. For it is the very life of Lord Vishnu, this 18th chapter. It provides solace to the hearts of Indra and all demigods, as well as the yogis headed by Sanak and Sanatan. It keeps Yamaraj far away. Bhagavad Gita, Kinchita Dita, Ganga Jalalava, Sakadapi Hena, Murari Sayate Tas Yamanena Bhajagovindam. So Bhagavad Gita keeps Yaman, no Yamanena Chacha. So it keeps Yama away. No other recitation can so quickly destroy all sins and free one from the threefold miseries of the world. Tapatraya. No other recitation has the power to free us than what the 18th chapter has got to do. Don't ask me that Bhagavatam doesn't have. It has. So it's the emotions of Lord Vishnu. It's true, but it's not that only this has got the power. Bhagavatam also has got the power. Okay. We'll go to verse 1. O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyag, and of the renounced order of life, Sannyas. O killer of Keshi Daman, master of the senses. So, Arjuna is asking the Lord this question. What is the difference between Tyag and Sannyas? So Prabhupada writes that the summary of the entire Gita. What is the summary of the entire Gita? That Lord Krishna, but Krishna Bhakti is the ultimate goal of life. Okay. That summary of entire Bhagavad Gita is now chapter 18. Okay. Chapter 2 gave a synopsis and chapter 18 is giving a summary, conclusions. Synopsis means one jhalak it gave. But all the essence is now, in one sense, everything is being, what is the right word for that? All our learning is getting consolidated. Will get consolidated in chapter 18. Consolidation of our learning. It's a summary. The children again have to be kept a little quiet, please. Amrit. Uttara. So summary of the end. So in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the stress was given on. It also gave stress to devotional service in one sense, but it was karma kanda. Karma yoga, sorry. Karma yoga was the stress. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service was given, right? And the nature of pure devotional service and the activities in pure devotional service have been discussed. In the last 6 chapters, especially the last 5 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature, transcendental nature, and devotional service, they are all described again. So devotional service is there in every section in that sense. Now, as I said before, just as chapter 2 was a synopsis, chapter 18 is also a summary of all instructions that are given. So, what is the lesson we are learning in Bhagavad Gita? What is the goal of the Bhakti Shastri course? At the end of the day, after study of Bhagavad Gita, all that should lead to renunciation. Otherwise, it will just be an academic exercise. At the end of the day, the purpose of life is to attain the state of renunciation and going beyond the 3 modes of material nature, attaining the transcendental position. Now, Arjuna, therefore, after hearing all this, he wants to get that final lesson right. So, he is saying he wants to clarify on these 2 distinct subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. Renunciation, which is called Tyag, or renounced order of life, which is called as Sannyas. Now, in this word, the Lord is addressed as Rishikesha, and he is also addressed as Keshi Nishudana. If you read the Sanskrit, you will find he is addressed as Rishikesha and Keshi Nishudana. There is a significance to that. Rishikesh indicates one who can always help us to attain mental serenity. Mental serenity. Because the Lord is the controller of the senses. Therefore, he is addressed as, Arjuna is addressing him. That after all this, O Lord, who gives mental serenity to everyone, please. And then Keshi Nishudan means what? Keshi is one of the worst, it is said it is the worst demon that Krishna killed. The Keshi demon. So what is the worst demon for a devotee in progress in Krishna consciousness? Doubt. Doubt. Does Krishna exist or what? Like that. So that is to be killed. That is the worst thing. We will never progress in Krishna consciousness if we are always under doubt. Some share. It will kill devotional life. Okay. So therefore he is addressing Lord as Rishikesha and Keshi Nishudana. Now, if you go back to 5.13, go to 5.13. The Lord is saying, when the embodied living being, 255 page for the big Bhagavad Gita. What is big Bhagavad Gita? Not the medium size, not the small size. 255 page number. 5.13. If you go there, it is written, when the embodied living being controls his nature when the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions. So what is it saying? Renouncing all? Mentally renounces all actions. He resides happily in the city of 9 gates, neither working nor causing work to be done. He is neither working nor... So what is it saying? Leave all work. 5.13 Lord Krishna has said that. Further you go back in 4.20, 420, if you go, 4.20. Okay. What does it say? Earlier the Lord is saying what? Abandon all actions. Now what is said? Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of activities or undertakings. So here he is saying activity, there he is saying no activity. Correct? So Arjuna is finally wanting a summary. So what is correct? Therefore Arjuna is inquiring, what is the difference between Tyag and Sannyas? Because does the sannyasi perform activities? Yes. So he is asking this question. So is a sannyasi, does he epitomize Tyag also? Yes. Right? So the Lord is clarifying what is the difference now. We will discuss that and we will stop. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life or sannyas. After giving up the result of all activities is what the wise, and giving up all the result of activities is what the wise called renunciation. The giving up of activities that are based on material desire is called as the renounced order, sannyas. And giving up the result of all activities is what called as tyag. So giving up of activities is called as renunciation. Giving up the results of the activities is called as tyag. Does it make sense? Giving up activity is called as renunciation. Material activity is called as renunciation. And giving up the results of material activities is called as tyag. Everyone clear? So those are the 2 points that are majorly coming here. So, so sannyasa refers to renunciation of materially motivated activities like karma kanda. And tyag refers to fruits of activities. So, the summary of the 18th chapter is now, the summary of the Bhagavad Gita is now commencing in the 18th chapter. And the next few verses will talk about the summary of the first 6 chapters of the Gita. But this is just a context. To understand that, this basic understanding is essential. Giving up activities which are material is called as sannyas. Giving up attachment to the results of any activity is called as Prabhupada.